Tears slid down the young mechanic's face as he clutched a cardboard box of his belongings under the cold office lights, while behind him Christmas wreaths glowed warmly and a powerful woman's pointing finger cut through his dignity like a blade. On Christmas Eve, inside a glass-walled corporate building dressed in celebration, a poor mechanic was publicly humiliated by a female CEO who believed she was erasing a useless mistake from her perfect world. She did not know that this moment meant to break him, was about to expose a truth that would shatter her certainty and change both their lives forever. Before the story continues, if you believe in kindness, second chances, and the idea that one compassionate act can change a life, please take a moment to like this video, share it with someone who needs hope, comment your thoughts, and subscribe to the channel Ripple of Kindness, where real emotions and meaningful stories live on. The mechanic had arrived at the company before dawn every day for years, his blue uniform worn but always clean, his hands permanently marked by grease and hard work. He fixed things no one else wanted to touch, repaired machines that kept the building alive, and stayed late when everyone else rushed home to warm dinners and family laughter. On this Christmas Eve, the building was quieter than usual, wrapped in lights and fake smiles, while he carried a small box holding a plant, a folded towel, and a framed photo of his late mother, the only family he had left. The female CEO, admired for her brilliance and feared for her cold efficiency, saw him only as a cost, an embarrassment discovered after a minor mistake caused a temporary shutdown. In front of employees and executives, she stripped him of his job, his pride, and his humanity, convinced that success required cruelty disguised as discipline. As he walked out of the building, the city air felt heavier than usual. Snow dusted the sidewalks, couples hurried past with gifts, and carols echoed faintly from nearby shops. The mechanic sat on a bench, staring at his shaking hands, wondering how he would pay rent, how he would eat, how he would survive the days ahead. Christmas Eve had become a night of fear instead of hope. Yet beneath the despair lived a quiet strength born from years of struggle, from caring for a sick mother, from surviving loss without complaint. He did not curse the world. He simply bowed his head and breathed, holding on to dignity when everything else was taken. Inside the building, the CEO returned to her office, surrounded by awards and framed magazine covers praising her leadership. But something unsettled her. A system failure spread across multiple departments, far worse than before. Engineers panicked, managers failed, and millions were at risk. The very machines the mechanic used to maintain began collapsing one by one, exposing how fragile the empire truly was. Desperation replaced confidence as hours passed and no solution appeared. Christmas lights flickered in the hallway, mocking the urgency of the situation. Records were pulled, reports reviewed, and an uncomfortable pattern emerged. The mechanic who had been fired was the one who had quietly prevented disasters for years, correcting flaws before anyone noticed, working beyond his job description without recognition. A deeper investigation revealed something even more shocking. Years earlier, when the company was still struggling, an anonymous decision had saved it from bankruptcy. A low-level employee had discovered a fatal flaw in a core system design and submitted a detailed fix without credit. That employee was the mechanic. His knowledge, his intelligence, and his loyalty had been hidden beneath his uniform and silence. The CEO world tilted. The story she told herself about strength and superiority began to crack. She remembered the tears, the box, the pointing finger. Shame crept in, slow and heavy. For the first time in years, she felt small. As the crisis worsened, there was only one person who truly understood the systems well enough to fix them. Pride battled necessity, but humanity finally won. The mechanic was found hours later, still sitting near the building, unsure where else to go. When he was asked to return, confusion and disbelief washed over his tired face. He did not feel victory, only exhaustion. Back inside, he worked through the night, ignoring hunger and pain, methodically restoring what had broken. The building came back to life, systems stabilized, and disaster was quietly averted just before midnight. Christmas arrived not with fireworks, but with relief. When the work was done, the truth could no longer be ignored. The CEO saw him not as a worker beneath her, but as a man who carried wisdom, resilience, and integrity despite a lifetime of being overlooked. The humiliation she had inflicted became a wound in her own conscience. In that moment, surrounded by humming machines and fading holiday lights, power finally bowed to humility. The days that followed changed everything. The mechanic was not just reinstated, but recognized for who he truly was. Opportunities opened, respect replaced silence, and a future once stolen was returned with dignity. The CEO changed too, learning that leadership without compassion is empty, and that the measure of success is not how high one stands, but how gently one treats those below. As the year turned, the mechanic visited his mother's grave with flowers bought from his first renewed paycheck, whispering gratitude into the cold air. He had survived the darkest Christmas Eve of his life and emerged stronger, not because of revenge, but because truth has a way of rising when kindness is finally allowed to exist. If this story touched your heart, if it reminded you that no one is insignificant and that hidden goodness exists everywhere, please take a moment to like this video, share it with someone who needs hope, and subscribe to Ripple of Kindness so these stories continue to spread light in a world that often forgets it. Special request: before this story ends, please comment below what lesson this moment taught you or who it reminded you of, because your words may inspire someone silently watching. Sometimes the greatest miracles do not happen through power or wealth, but through the quiet truth of a person who keeps doing good even when the world looks away, and through the courage it takes to finally see